Hi friends, welcome to the Share, Invite, and Proclaim channel. My name is Judy, and yes, I'll be using this until I can get something like a Elmo machine or something that I can connect up with the computer. Well, in a short period of time, I have had 3 people talk about the problem of bullying. One was a YouTuber that I follow, and her name is Sunny. And then 2 family members have talked about bullying. So it's a sign to me that that is something I need to talk about as a life challenge. I want to talk about what it is, why it exists, and what should I do. I've used 2 resources. I could have used 100, but I've used 2 resources. This one by Dr. Mark Baker, Overcoming Shame, and then this one by Dr. Jonathan Fast, Beyond Bullying, Breaking the Cycle of Shame, Bullying, and Violence. I think they're pretty good experts. And so I have read their material, and I think it's worth sharing. Well, the first question is, what makes a bully? There are 5 situations, 5 suggestions. Parents did not bond with their child as an infant. Parents failed to inhibit child's aggression. Parents model aggression and physical violence as their primary method of solving problems. The child has an inborn tendency toward aggression and impulsive behavior. The child is larger and stronger than other children his age. Children that are victims are so because they're smaller and weaker than other children their age. So it's a confrontation between strong and weak. Well, as a former teacher, what are some options that I would take for bullying? And bullying continues because it is kept secret, or administrators choose not to do anything about it. Here are some steps that I would take. First of all, give the principal a chance to resolve the issue. Not all principals ignore it. Give the principal a chance as your first step. Secondly, take as many parents with you to have a unified force for child safety. There is power in numbers. Third, go to the superintendent of schools and ask for results. If that doesn't stop it. Number 4, go to the superintendent with a news person. Or number 5, homeschool if you can. A lot of large communities have a large homeschool organization where students go to a particular place, typically a church, and they have retired teachers or part-time teachers that teach middle and high school students. Or move to another school district or private school if you have the funds. Work with a school counselor to change a class schedule or lunchtime so that your child can avoid the person who is bullying your child. If you must stay in the district, I would follow my child around with my phone and video any bullying, whether it's your child or someone else's child. And as a last resort, sue the parents, sue the students, sue the district, sue the school, and take some action. Of course, you would have to have permission to be in the school, and it's okay for you to follow your child around the school if it's necessary. There is a major need to start in elementary school about teaching children how to appropriately healthy problem-solving situations. Now, in elementary school, there are many storybooks that are available to teach the dangers of bullying. And, casual bullying may be made by a jokester who doesn't know it's hurtful. And these books will stop this person once the harm is pointed out. A big problem is knowing early that your son or daughter is being bullied. Personally, I would assume that if your child is smaller than others of children their own age, it's most likely that they are bullied in middle school or high school. And I suspect that there's also bullying for heavy boys and girls. That's just my opinion. As I mentioned before, bullying, how to understand it. Why does it exist? It exists for this reason. You have what Donald Nathanson has created this compass of shame. And it's 4 different ways that people deal with shame and the consequences. At the top, you have withdrawal. And those people who feel shame they isolate, they run from it, they hide from it, and that is their reaction. They withdraw. Opposite of that would be avoidance. They deny it. They become abusers of different drugs and alcohol. They're thrill seekers. The narcissists are in this category. And then you have those that attack themselves. They put themselves down. Martyrdom, depression. Those that do ultimately commit suicide because their depression is so great are in this category. And then those that attack others, this is where the bullies come in. They turn the tables, they lash out, they're the bullies, they weaponize shame, they're full of anger. And so this compass of shame kind of explains where bullying is and why it happens. Deals with shame. So, therefore, we need a lot of shame management. And the failure to manage shame results in school shootings and acts of domestic terrorism. Shame management suggested by Dr. Fast. Discuss the event with a trusted friend or family member. Confess it to a parent, a counselor, a trusted adult. For those who have turned to substance abuse, maybe Alcoholics Anonymous is the solution. Gosh, I had an 8th grader a long time ago who was an alcoholic. I mean, between classes, she'd go to her locker and have a sip. Another suggestion is to make a joke about it. Now, I don't know so much about that one. Another one is to teach healthy problem-solving solutions. That one I wholly support. Also, Dr. Fast suggests that shame occurs in 2 types of situations. First of all, when membership in an existing group is threatened by inappropriate behavior. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you are in a faith group and you suddenly, a crisis occurs, and rather than turning to God or turning to your faith group, you go to a local bar and get drunk. Well, it might be that group that you are part of just disassociates themselves from you and you feel shame. Another shame occurrence happens when ambition for wealth, status, personal or professional satisfaction drives us to seek entry into a group of higher status. Let me read that one because it's pretty strong. When ambition for wealth, status, personal or professional satisfaction drives us to seek entry into a group of higher status, then you feel shame. One feels shame if you're incapable of meeting the cultural, behavioral, intellectual, or ideological standards of others. The child who feels isolated from all groups and can't manage shame is most likely to harbor violent, destructive impulses against himself or others. If shame is used intentionally to injure a person's self-concept, it is weaponized shame, and that's where bullying, bigotry, workplace harassment, domestic violence, physical and sexual abuse, and hate crimes come in. Then, let's see. I have to go to number 7. Here it is. Nope, that's not it. Number 7. There's also bullying to the LGBT community. And he suggests positive ways to manage LGBT shame. He says Black parents can teach them how to survive in a world of whites. Conversations with non-judgmental listeners. Dan Savage has a video, It Gets Better, or telephone helplines, or openly gay teachers who are willing to give you informal counseling. There's bullying of women by men, either physical or sexual violence or both, motivated by shame. The partner wants control because he feels worthless. He can't get into that next higher status group, or he is shunned by his regular group that he had some inappropriate behavior. And this anger then is transferred to the wife. And then there's bullying of Blacks and Hispanics by whites, those who cannot manage appropriate behavior or cannot move to a higher social status can bully any group they feel is below them. All right, now let me get to number 8. Now, because this is a faith-based channel, are there any biblical examples? Well, sure. One large example is Goliath. In 1 Samuel 17, Goliath was over 9 feet tall. He was a great man from Gath, and he was a descendant of Anakim, who was very tall. That particular group of people, they were giants, and the Anakims were descendants of the Nephilim giants. So Goliath was the bully, and he used weaponized shame. He and the Philistines were on one side of a hill, King Saul and the Israelites on another side of the hill, and there was a valley, the valley of Elath, between them. Goliath was intimidating not just because of his height, over 9 feet tall, but he was in his armor. Bronze helmet, a coat of scale armor of bronze that weighed 125 pounds, bronze shin coverings, bronze javelin that was 15 pounds that was slung on his back. And so every day for 40 days, Goliath would shout at Israel's army, and he said, I defy, that means openly resist, I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man and let us fight each other. On hearing this, Saul and the Israelites were terrified. Saul the king and his army were paralyzed, terrified from the bullying of Goliath. Another example is Adam and Eve. Goodness, they felt shame after they disobeyed God and ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They wanted to be like God. They wanted to go into a different status. And they did not recognize the evil of Satan to deceive them. And once they sinned, Adam and Eve hid from God. They hid from God because they were afraid and they knew they were naked. That was the withdrawal, hiding shame. And then their children. Cain was the first child of Adam and Eve, and Abel the second. Cain was a farmer. He brought an offering to God from things that he grew. Abel was a herdsman, the keeper of the fields, and he brought an offering of animals. Abel's offering was accepted and approved by God, and Cain's was not. The problem was not between plant life and animal life. The conflict was between their attitudes. A careless, thoughtless offering of Cain, a choice, generous offering of Abel. And God looked at their motivation, and Cain was bad and Abel's was good. Cain became so angry he killed his brother. Attacking others with shame is weaponized shame. Here's a summary. Bullying is a problem. It's a human problem. It's not just an American problem. Parents, take action. Do something, because the consequences are too great a cost. You're not helpless. There's some things that you can do. Pay attention to the behavior of your child. Have their grades declined rapidly? Are they unusually withdrawn? That's out of character with your child? Do they cry for some unknown reason? Investigate, ask. If you're a student who happened to find this channel because you were looking up sites on the internet about bullying, let me suggest two things. One, take action. Tell your parents, your friends, your school administrators, your counselors, your pastors. Ask for help. Defend yourself. You are valuable to God. God will put others in place to help you if you ask for help. Secondly, be part of the solution instead of giving in to this problem. This topic is just so sad for me because I know that in schools that I taught, this went on and I wasn't even aware of it. And so it saddens me. And so I don't even know how to close this video other than saying thanks for watching, and share with others who might need to know about this topic. Thanks for watching.